What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, Today was a beautiful Sunday, and yeah, we went to church today, which was nice because the last 2 weeks with everything that's going on, I missed church, so I actually didn't go to church, and I think for last week I didn't even attend the YouTube live stream because usually I would attend the YouTube live stream just because there's always something that I can bounce ideas off of. How like sometimes I make videos like this to um I guess to give you a insight or a different angle of seeing a problem or a thought. So in many times for me, I have to be exposed to new ideas, um, new concepts for me to get that shift myself. These shifts called paradigm shifts, right? Thinking differently about a problem, about a situation. So today's message was cool. I really enjoyed it, and it really today's message really got me thinking about how last week went. And for those of you who don't know what happened last week, on Monday I got my phone stolen at my gym, my home gym. Some big buff dude, assuming he went in my locker and he basically twisted and bent my lock and went through my stuff and my stole my phone, my precious phone that I make videos on. But thankfully, hey, we're now recording on a brand new phone, so very thankful. But at the same time, I gotta find a way to somehow make money to cover this phone because yeah, it was money that I was saving up to use. But either or, besides that happened last week on Wednesday. Believe it or not, my as if the week can't get any worse. The My battery light came on for my card and happened the same week, and I don't know why. So I actually went over to AutoZone and they said to it was either I gotta take it to a mechanic. So I took it to a mechanic. The mechanic said that it was a alternator problem because the fact that you could turn it on and everything works means that it's not the battery's problem, right? And the guy told me that I need a new alternator because if I keep driving it, it'll eventually run out of battery. And even jump starting it won't help because the battery is not being recharged because the alternator is the problem. So no matter if I was trying to articulate, oh, what if you just spark it, bring a spark thing, jump, no, it will not work. You gotta replace the alternator. But you know what? Thankfully, the guy was able to replace the alternator the same day in I think 4 3 hours, which was awesome. I'm very thankful just to the relationship I built up with my mechanics, and I got to spend the day with my cousin, which is super awesome. Got to see a little bit of the what a day is like, hang out with my cousin, and so while this wide range of events was happening last week, and it really got me thinking about how when shit hits the fan, I kind of shift from a Christ center to a me center. And I noticed that happens in situations a lot where we're in some sort of a weird circumstance, problem, or disaster. We tend to just kind of like have to scramble, scramble to help fix the situation. And in those moments where we're scrambling and thinking that, oh shit, I gotta do this, how am I gonna, for me it was like, how am I gonna cover the cost for the next month, etc, etc. And I notice in moments like this, right, in moments where we're pulled away from Christ, is when we become very very me-centered, self-centered, right? We're no longer shifting our focus in Christ, but rather we're focusing on our problems, our situation, and today's sermon was a big reminder of what I was doing this past week. It was that I the last week I could say that I didn't communicate with God as much. I didn't worship him as much. I didn't pray with him as much, communicate with him as much. I was just kind of scrambling, just me, trying to fix this problem. And it took this sermon to kind of remind me that, like, when things are going great, right, our faith is not being tested. We don't have to say, we don't have to rely on God because we're doing good, we're riding good. The ship is not sinking. But when that ship sinks, you're the one with the paddle in your hand, you're like just trying to just crawl yourself out. And it felt like that for me this week. And so, it kind of got me thinking, whenever things are smooth, we faith is easy. But whenever things hit the fan, the poop hits the fan. I already cussed, who cares? That's when trusting God, having faith in God becomes especially challenging, right? You're getting pulled away, you're getting sucked away, right? Our attention's no longer focused on him, but on ourself. And I think in those moments we got to realize who our identity is, right? Our identity, at least my identity, is that I am a child of God, that he's got away from me. But it's just that our brain gets hijacked because of the emotions, because of the trauma, because of the anxiety, because of the what ifs, all those things. It kind of just pulls you away from God, right? Right. And the example that the sermon talked about today was using Moses, right? I'm just gonna briefly kind of go over it, right? In Exodus, right, God tells Moses that, hey, I'm gonna use you, right, to speak. And Moses was like, dude, I am not good enough. I'm not good enough to speak. Why don't you just take somebody else? Why don't you ask your brother, right? Ask my brother to speak. I think it was Levi, right? And it kind of reminded me of like of hold on. Let me cook here. It kind of reminded me of like the lack of faith I was dealing with when it came to this past week of dealing with the car trouble and also the phone trouble, right? It was like a lack of faith because it was a moment where I felt like God didn't come to my immediate rescue. And in similar moments, it's kind of like Moses not trusting in God's instruction to have him talk to the people, right? And I think in the sermon, God reminds them that who's the one that makes people mute, who's the one that makes people see, and who's the one that makes people blind. And it's God. God does all those things. And when God tells you to obey direction, we just got to do it. We just got to do it. And sometimes God calls for the most unqualified people to do his work just because in those moments, those people, those unqualified people, produces the strongest testimonies, right? And similar to the moments where God heals the blind, it was a miracle, right? It gave people the aha that our God is that great, our God is that loving, right? That by having faith, anything can be done. And yeah, and I think that's where I want to leave it off in this video. I hope you guys got something out of it, and yeah, see you guys on the next video. Peace.